looks like it.
Yeah.
All right, good deal. Oh, Lord. I hate one-day weekends.
What are those?
This is, I don't know. It's been a long week.
Well,
I've had a hard time today, especially. I had a hard time staying awake. It took me quite a while to come to life this morning after I got into work.
you get there on time?
Yeah. Actually, I think the only person who beat me there was Dave and Jeff. No, I'm lying to you, Dave.
Jeff.
Because I said Jeff because his truck was in the parking lot, but Jeff drove his grease truck home. So.
Yeah, he texted me at 5:30 this morning. Right, I was walking out into the shop to work out, and
Ooh. You want a sniffer?
yes, you know I do. Is this
my fancy new EP?
Carolina Red small batch? There ain't much smell to it.
No, it's just this is just a straight Virginia.
You've had that one, haven't you?
Yeah.
I thought I remembered one that looked like it was broke off and a piece of plastic shoved in it.
No, this is not same guy, different pipe.
Oh. You call it an EP? Homemade pipes. EP. Okay, so EP's the maker.
Yeah. Rich Epley. We'll talk about that.
EP, Rich Epley.
Yeah, we probably ought to start recording the podcast so we can talk about this sort of stuff. Before we get too far off the Hujima flopper.
That's that bitch.
I think I sucked a piece into the stem because it was drawn really good, and now it's not. The stem on this one is a little tighter or a little thicker than the first one I got from him, but I like the. Yep, I sucked a piece of it.
Is there peppermint in that?
Mm-mm.
There's some part of peppermint. I swear it's like I'm getting a peppermint. I don't know. It's weird.
You hand me that fancy new tamper I got? This was a gift.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It fits you well.
I think that's why I got it. So shall we get started? Might as well.
You started off. I'm a passenger in this dumpster fire.
Welcome to a BS podcast. Bobby and Mark are back with you. And I think we've got a few things to talk about this evening.
Are we recording?
Yeah, we're recording.
Are you sure? I didn't see you click the thing.
Oh, I clicked it a long time ago.
Oh. Okay. All right.
When I said do you want to get started, I meant do you want to actually formally start the podcast?
All right.
So, for those of you that don't know, we are adding a video element to the podcast now that's up on YouTube and Rumble. So, if you want to continue listening on the normal podcast platforms, you can do that. But if you want to see the video edition of the podcast, you can do that, like I said, on ABS Podcast on YouTube and on Rumble. And I'll be honest, it is totally unfiltered and uncut. So it's everything that's before the intro and after the outro. How's that? So, anyways.
So it's not marked safe.
It is definitely not marked good for children. Trying to get this pipe going. Having a little trouble with this tobacco.
Smoking a pipe, I think, is too much work.
It is sometimes. You hear a lot of folks talk about the ritual of it, and I think that's the part I like. It keeps my brain engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too much other mindless crap. So having something I have to kind of tinker with and fiddle with does me good.
Good.
So, anyway, I was going to go steal the shock collar from the dog to give you, because if I say honestly in this podcast, I was going to have you shocked me, because I've been listening back and it's awful.
There's stuff like that. I'll talk to people, and you probably notice it. Like, well, if I'm being honest,
yeah,
well, I try to think I'm always being honest with you.
I always listen to the episodes after they're posted, so I can kind of, it reassures me that everything was okay.
And I have a little bit of a qualm with that. You talk about listening to the episodes because, I've told you I've only listened to one, and I don't listen because I don't know why. It's just weird. I don't watch any media I put out at all. But I was really looking forward last week to an episode because you and the boys were going to be.
I felt so bad because, so I guess we can start there. So last weekend, myself and my two of my oldest friends in the world, Wallace and Brandon, Ace and Pete, if you hear me talk about them.
What you call Brandon Pete?
Yeah.
I get Ace. I get that because it's like Ace.
Honestly,
where the hell does Pete come from?
No, his dad.
Oh.
I don't remember what happened. Because we asked Jerry one time, why do you call him Pete? And it was basic. I don't even remember anymore, but it's pretty much just because Brandon was doing something dumb, if I remember right, or kind of off-putting, something he should have known better about. Yeah. I don't remember the story for sure, because it's been a long time ago. But he called him Pete, and I don't know, it just stuck.
Yeah.
So, and Ace was, when I first met Ace, or Wallace, I was on the school bus, and that's how he introduced himself, because instead of going, Ace is just the last of Wallace, so that's where the Ace came from.
Yeah, well, when we first met, and we were Facebook friends, and I kept having Wallace, and this Wallace guy kept showing up like somebody you might know. I'm like, I have no clue anybody named Wallace, and I mean, I didn't even know Ace at that point, but you were friends with him, and our phones must have obviously heard us talking about him. But, yeah.
That sounds conspiracy.
And then one day you were like, you called him the Wallace or something. I'm like, hold on, what is his last name? And I told you his last name. Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh. So, how was Muletown? Let's get into that.
Muletown was a very good time. So I took the Friday before Muletown, so the 14th, was off of work, and then I was off Monday after Muletown also. Ace and Brandon both had to be back for Monday. So I got up, I left here, I want to say it was about 6:15, 6:20ish Friday morning. Because I was to Brandon's house by 9 o'clock. Or a little bit before 9. And I knew Ace was going to be a little bit after 9 because he was dropping his daughter off at school. Because he does that when he's at home. But we took off, drove from Brandon's. We all met at Brandon's. Because he is... For us to get on the interstate, he's the most ideally located for us to get onto Interstate 65. So we all met up at Brandon's. Of course, we stood there and BS'd for a little bit, and chatted. Ace was, I sampled some of Ace's coffee. Me and him had a coffee conversation last week. But anyways, and then we took off. So we were on the road, I want to say by 9:30ish, we were headed south. And since we got a good start, we knew we had time. So we drove from Indy to, I guess that'd be Frankfurt. We went to the Buffalo Trace Distillery on the way down. We didn't do one of the tours, which me and Ace have both been on the tours at Buffalo Trace before, which are excellent. If you've never done any of the Bourbon Trail stuff, go do the Bourbon Trail stuff. Whether you're into booze or not, it's still interesting. And a lot of history. And me and Ace are both history guys. We like history stuff. So, anyways, we went there. We didn't want to be there for a long period of time since we were trying to get down to Columbia, Tennessee. So we just kind of checked some stuff out, went through the gift shop. Me and Ace were blown away because the gift shop, Buffalo, we figured out, I think it's been 10 or 15 years since me and Ace were there the last time. And this place is like quadrupled in that, like the parts that we had gone to, it is literally like quadrupled in size.
Oh, wow.
And like the only thing you used to be able to buy in the gift shop were like Buffalo Trace glasses, Buffalo Trace soap, and you could buy Buffalo Trace bourbon cream and Wheatley vodka. Like if you thought you were going to buy Blanton's in there, they would literally laugh at you. Like if you did a tasting and you thought you were going to get to sample some Blanton's, you were going to get laughed at. They're like, oh no. Because I remember when we went on the tour the last time, the guy was like, oh no, you don't get to sample this. Like, what the heck? Anyways, we sampled Blanton. So we went into the gift shop, we did a tasting. So you got to taste Wheatley vodka, Sazerac rye, Blanton's, and of course Buffalo Trace. And I think that's it. And then they give you a bourbon ball to cleanse your palate when you were finished. Since I was fasting, I give my bourbon ball to Brandon, so he ate it. And then we went down to the gift shop. I spent way too much money on booze. I bought stuff that you can't get up here. So like I brought home a bottle of Blanton's, 2 bottles of Weller Special Reserve, which you're only allowed 1 bottle every 90 days. But Brandon wasn't buying any booze, so I made him buy a bottle. Thank you, Brandon. And I got a bottle of bourbon cream because that's the liquor store in front of Kroger in Warsaw. So like used to be able to go in there and get it, and I loved it because they carry a lot of oddball stuff, and not anymore. So basically, I just bought stuff that's allocated, or it's hard for me to find up here. And then we took off and went the rest of the way to Muletown or to Columbia. Found our hotel. Got checked in. Everything was going smooth. Doing good. So we thought. Took the boys next door to the hotel and we got them some supper. Like I said, I was fasting, so I didn't eat. But I did make one mistake. I decided to, since I was out of town, I was like, I'm not going to eat any food, but at least if everybody's having a beer, I can have a beer. So, like, I had a beer while they were eating supper, but I didn't eat no food. And it had, my 24 hours was well past technically at that time, because it's the same deal. Like, I quit eating Thursday night at like 8 o'clock. Because it was by the time we finished supper, I'll say it was 8 Thursday night. So by the time we got to supper, it had been well over the 24-hour mark. So I thought, heck with it, I'm good. I can at least have a beer. That way I don't look like a weirdo. So I had a beer with supper. And then we kind of scouted out Columbia a little bit. Figured, kind of tried to get our bearings on where stuff was at. And then we went to Briarworks Friday night because they had like a meet and greet and all that good stuff. Where the Muletown Pipe Show is held at. And so we went over there. I seen some people I know of, but I've never met before. And I'm not as you well know, I'm not exactly the most sociable person, especially in a large group. So I kind of hung back and stuck to just me and Brandon and Ace.
You're just creeping on them.
Yeah, basically. And we were there for a little while. We went in, they'd had a cigar event, so like me and Brandon both bought a cigar. And so we were kind of just hanging out, smoking our stogies. Ace was just kind of hanging out. I guess he was smoking his pipe. But we were just kind of hanging out, and then a bunch of the other Indiana guys showed up, which kind of lightened things up for us. So a bunch of the guys from the Indiana Pipe Club come in, and we wound up standing and talking to one of those guys for quite a while. And then we went out because we were standing out in the what would be the show floor the next day. They had some tables and chairs to expand the lounge area. And then we went back into the actual lounge and kind of hung out for a bit, got us a couple of beers, and had a couple Guinnesses. And by that time, a table had opened up over in the lounge area, so we wound up just sitting at a table kind of, chatting and catching up, and had a couple beers, smoked a couple of pipes while we were hanging out, and all was going good. I will say this. I have figured out where all the hippies that move out of California, I'm convinced they go to Columbia, Tennessee. There's a lot of hippies in Columbia, Tennessee.
A lot of PBR getting drank down there?
No, not PBR, but like, just, I don't know how else to describe them. A bunch of, there was some, we seen some interesting folks while we were there.
Yeah.
Not necessarily at the pipe show, just while we were out scouting out stuff. It's like, I know where all the Californians moved to.
Yeah.
But it was kind of funny. Beautiful area, and we had a great time. Ate a lot of good food, but anyway, so that kind of wrapped up Friday night, sort of. So on our way to Briarworks, it was dark. We were trying to figure out where to park and all that sort of stuff. I may or may not have four-wheel drive the G6 and removed a chunk of asphalt from a parking lot.
Oh, shoot. Wow.
Oh, that's not the best part of it. So we left Briarworks like 11:30 Friday night. Maybe even closer to midnight. They were getting ready to close when we left anyways, because they were picking stuff up. And I told the guys, I was like, man, I need to get like a bottle of water and a pop for in the morning. And they're like, okay. So we're like hunting for a gas station that's open. And like this place is like shut off the lights and rolled up the sidewalks. I'm like, where are we going to find it? And so we're driving around. We wind up on the road that the hotel's on. We drive past the hotel, no gas station. So I was like, well, we'll go back the other way. So we whipped to Huey and started heading back the other way. Go back past the hotel a second time. And it's like, oh, hey, there's a gas station. So we pull in there. And, of course, we were joking about, because I kept joking about the hippies. And so, of course, Brandon's always, you say something in front of Brandon, and Brandon just runs with it. And the crap that comes out of that dude's mouth, it just boggles your mind. I mean, he can turn anything into a 3-day story, and you will die laughing. And I don't remember exactly what he said. We come out of the gas station. He's got us laughing so hard I can hardly see. We're kind of watching the guy in the gas station because apparently we were the last customers of the night. The dude literally walked up and locked the doors behind us.
Oh.
So we jumped back in the car. And I'm sober. Don't get me wrong. I've drank 2 beers the entire time we were at Briarworks. So like in this 3.5 or 4 hour span, I'll say 3 hour span. No, it would have been closer to 4. That we were at Briarworks. I had 2 beers the whole time we were there. So it's not like I'm drunk or even buzzed. Like I'm totally, and like it had been an hour since I drank the last beer when we left. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like I'm stone cold sober, but I'm just like dying laughing. Okay, and we pull out. I pull up at the edge of the parking lot at the gas station, pull out onto the road, and the first thought in my head was, "There's something not right about this." And of course, Ace and Brandon are still talking. Nobody says a word to me. And all of a sudden, I got somebody flashing their high beams at me. And I said, holy crap, we're on the wrong side of the road. There's a divided highway that we're on. And I'm on the wrong side of the grassy median. I was like, so we hit the first crossover. I found the crossover we were supposed to use the following morning. But I was like, oh my God. So of course, Brandon and Ace just think I'm some sort of derelict. And, you know, that shouldn't be driving. We had a good laugh about it all weekend. But then, so Saturday morning, we got up and got some breakfast. I harassed the waitress at the diner, the restaurant we ate at, because on their menu, they were very proud of their cage-free chickens. And look, it's a chicken. I don't care how you keep it. I just want eggs. I want a lot of eggs for breakfast. And they had a lot of weird stuff on their menu, which I think goes back to the hippies. But, and I got nothing against the hippies. Hey, that was a dang good breakfast. Best pork sausage I've ever ate. But anyways, we get in there, we ate some breakfast. It took them a little bit because apparently they had to catch the cage-free chickens to get our eggs. And I figured out how everybody's talked about how expensive eggs are. I paid almost $9 for 4 eggs.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Because I ordered my breakfast, which was like $13, but it only had 2 eggs. And like I usually eat a half a dozen eggs for breakfast with whatever's, whatever goes with it. So I ordered 4 extra eggs with my breakfast. My breakfast Saturday morning without a tip was $27.
Oh, jeez.
I was like, holy cow. I about had a stroke. But it was a really good breakfast. So then we got to Briarworks about 20 after 10, excuse me. And the show opened at 11. Of course, none of the 3 of us had ever been to the Muletown pipe show. Heck, none of us had ever been to a pipe show before, so we were just kind of like, okay. And the guy that was standing in the lobby, he was like, have you guys been here before? And he's like, nope. He's like, did you pre-register? I was like, yep. He's like, oh, you can go up to the door and you can get your wristbands for getting in the show right now. So, of course, not knowing any better, all 3 of us waded through the 9 million people that were in the lounge. Only one of us needed to go. So we wound up getting in. We walked back to where we were standing, got our wristbands put on, and we basically just kind of hung out till 11. And then the show started promptly at 11. But man, it was like cattle going into getting loaded onto a truck. Like it was nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you got all these people, and then they funnel into like a 36-inch service door. And it was like, holy cow.
How many people do you think were there?
Oh, I don't even know how to begin yet.
Oh.
Tell you.
So that many.
Yeah, I couldn't. It was a lot.
Wow.
It was a lot. Like, it was a crazy.
So they're pretty big events.
Once we got in, so somebody told me It was the second. It's the second largest pipe show in the smallest venue. It was nuts. Like, you couldn't hardly walk up and down. So they had vendors down either outside wall, and then they had vendors back to back down the center, and then some across the back wall, right? And I am dead serious. You couldn't hardly, and of course, everybody's wandering around the same way I am. You know, everybody's carrying a backpack or something, so they got a place to stash their stuff. So,
is there a lot of swag? Like the vendors giving away a lot of stuff?
There were guys giving away stickers and stuff like that, but
do you remember going down to the 4-wheel jamboree in Indy and like the Grizzly truck would be there?
Oh yeah. But see, you can't give away free tobacco samples anymore. Oh. Now I will say Sutliff was there. It was their last hoorah. So Jeremy McKenna, who was Sutliff's president. I guess technically he probably is till the end of the month, but he was there. They had their very last blend of tobacco that they had put out, and it was being sold there at the show. It's called Sweated. I did get a pound of it, so that made me quite
Sweated.
Happy. Yeah. It was a tobacco originally that they were blending for another project, and when they started opening it up after they had aged it, they thought it was molded. And somebody told them, I don't remember the whole story. If I remember right, they were told to throw it in the dumpster. And they looked at it, some of the other guys looked at it a little more, and they were like, I don't really think that's mold. So they stuck in a hogshead and stuck in a Connex box out in the lot and forgot about it. They opened it up and found out there was nothing wrong with it. They weren't kidding. So they took it and they pressed it into into cake, like a crumble cake, and then packaged it up and brought it to the show. So the only place you could get it was at Muletown.
Okay.
So I got a pound of that, or a poundish, because I think if I remember right, the box says 16-ish ounces. Anyways, but I got some of that. Now, Jeremy McKenna, before the show opened, he was walking around with a bag of it, and you could take it out and fill a bowl and try it. But yeah, so the show was absolutely packed. I mean, that first like hour and a half, like you couldn't hardly make it from one end to the other of the show floor. And it's not a very big show floor. But we made a lap around. I bought this pipe that I'm smoking.
Well, hey, and what are you smoking in it?
This is, so I bought another EP from Rich Epley. It's very similar to my egg that I have from him. It just is a lot smaller. And is just written up as a freehand. I just really like the size of it and the contrast stain that's on it. I just thought it looked really good. And it's got one of these orange glow-in-the-dark stems on it. So I just liked the size of it and thought it looked good. And it was, to me, a good price. And then it has some 2024 Carolina Red Flake from C&D in it. So, but anyways, so I made this purchase on my first lap around, and then we kind of snuck back out of there, back out in the lounge, and we got us something to drink. All got a pop from the lounge, and we kind of stood out in the lounge for just a little bit, and then we dove back in and we tried to make another lap. Because it was just really, really hard to see what was on the tables. So we kind of ducked in and out. till about 1:30. Yeah. And then I had somehow we wound up getting separated. And so I was standing out in the lounge and I texted the guys. I was like, hey, I'm going to go take my stuff that I've bought and put it out in the car because I bought a couple t-shirts and I bought a pipe. I picked up a couple of estate pipes for a friend and that he asked me about getting. And so I was going to haul that stuff out the car. Well, I never got a text back, but about that time, Ace comes around the corner. I was like, oh. I was like, I'm going to go take my crap out to the car. I was like, I text you and Brandon both. Well, we kept stood there and we waited. No go. So I finally was like, I'm just going to go stick my crap back in the car. So me and Ace hoof it across the parking lot. We got our stuff put in the car. Pours down rain. And it had been raining all morning. Pours down rain. So we run under this little awning. Hide there for a minute. Quits raining. So we hoof it back into Briarworks. And Brandon, crack you up. That dude, I guarantee you, I could drop that dude off in the middle of Turkey. And that dude would find somebody that would speak English and sit and talk to him. So we walk back in, and the dude's sitting at the end of the bar talking to some dude. Just some random guy. And Brandon knows this, like, talks like he's known this guy for like 30 years. Brandon met him 30 seconds ago. It's funny. It's like that everywhere we go with him. But we wound up hanging out, ran back into the show for just a little bit, and then we walked across the parking lot and got some lunch, and then went back. And we got back to the show about 2:30, 3 o'clock. And that was, at that point, you could walk around the show floor and really see what was on the tables. There were still a lot of people in there, but you weren't nut to butt, you know. Like, it wasn't nothing like it was when it started. So that, because like that was, it was that time before I went in and got my tobacco from Sutliff. And then I bought a tin of the Muletown. C&D did a blend for the Muletown pipe show. So I got a tin of that. And what else did I get? I bought a cob and a Briarworks pipe. I didn't buy the Briarworks pipe till Saturday night, though. It was kind of haunting me. I kept looking at it and was like, really like that, but I kind of convinced myself after I bought my cob and my Rich Epley and my EP. I was like, there was some stuff I wanted, but it would have stretched my budget a little more than I wanted it to. Like, I'd figured out, it was like, technically I got it, you know, I knew I could do it, but I kept telling myself, it was like, I'd made up my mind after being there, like, and this was in the mix of the crowd. I made up my mind while we were there. I'm going to Chicago. I'm just going to go up for the day since I can do that drive pretty easy. But I made up my mind I was at least going to go up and check out the Chicago show on Saturday of it. But the afternoon, the other good part about that was, like, I got an opportunity to talk to guys. So, like, I stood at tables and talked to a couple different guys for quite some time. But it was good. It was a good experience. I don't think we jumped anything else or drove down the wrong side of the road or any of that crap the rest of the time we were there. But anyways, and then we took off a little out. The show was over on Saturday at 5. So we left. It was like about 10 till 5. We left. We went back to the hotel for about an hour. Just kind of showed each other what we'd bought and stuff like that. And then we went and grabbed a bite to eat at a little diner that was just down the road from Briarworks. Like a little family-owned place that had, oh my God, they had good food. Fantastic. All of us got cheeseburgers. Fantastic burgers. But I got a piece of pie for dessert. I love pie. And when I seen it, when we walked in, I was like, I'm having dessert. I ate probably the best piece of pecan pie I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Saturday night. It was so delicious. And then we went back to Briarworks Saturday night. I want to say we got there about 7 and just hung out in the lounge till about, I don't know, it was 9 or 10 o'clock. And then went back to the hotel, and then we got up Sunday morning and headed home.
So you think this is going to be a annual thing?
For me, for sure.
Yeah.
I definitely want to go back. I had a great time.
Good.
I absolutely had a blast. And with what you were saying earlier, so on the way down, I bought that little mobile recorder. I shouldn't say that. It's a set of lapel mics that work with my phone. But me, Ace, and Brandon had started recording a podcast on the way down. And by the time we got down there and we did everything, we pulled into Brandon's driveway on Sunday afternoon, and I got out of the car and I looked at them. I was like, we never finished the podcast, boys. And they're like, nope, we didn't. So we never actually, we had one started, but we never finished it, which is the reason nobody heard it.
Oh, I was looking forward to it.
I know. I think we were kind of bummed that we didn't do it. Because I honestly, I think I know Ace was up for it, and I think Brandon, I don't know whether he was in favor or not, but he was going along with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But it was good. I definitely want to go back. I had a great time.
Good deal. Now, when's this one in Chicago?
It is the first weekend in May.
Okay.
I guess I should do this real quick. I can hold this up. So if you go to the YouTube or Rumble and you can watch the video, I put my, I'm showing off my EP pipe on the video right now. Not in the best way, but I did it. But the other thing I picked up, it was actually a gift. You were playing with it earlier. My Brandon got me a tamper from Larry Blackett, Buttons for Your Britches. He's a pewter smith, and
that's awesome.
It is a tamper that looks like a single action army, and then the actual end of it that used is a tamper, which I found very interesting. It's head stamped 45 Colt, but the part that I really liked is I knew from the head stamp it's Starline brass, which is a brass I use quite a bit for reloading. So
nice.
But I think all of us left with at least one pipe purchase. So
yeah,
like I said, I brought 3 home. I think Brandon bought 3 estate pipes. Ace was the only one of us that was responsible. He bought a pipe.
A pipe.
A pipe.
Oh, leave it to Ace.
So Ace was the most responsible with his funds. But we had a good time. We got to talking about it on the way home. That is the first time since we've graduated high school that me, Ace, and Brandon have gone someplace, the 3 of us, over an entire weekend. Because I think the last time we were like juniors in high school and it was spring break. Was the last time the 3 of us went someplace for an extended period of time away from home.
Okay.
So it was kind of wild.
Nice to be out with the boys again. Yeah,
it was. We had a good time. And it's funny, we didn't even get we didn't do any dumb stuff. Well, I mean, we did some dumb stuff. Like I drove down the wrong side of the road and and tried to jump a parking lot, but that stuff wasn't really intentional. But it was a good time, and yeah, I definitely look forward to doing it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's definitely. It's always better when you go down and you have fun and no cars broke down or anything. You said you were taking the G6 down there.
Yeah, everybody's like
wondering.
flipped out because I was driving a G6. It's like the thing ran great. Even Brandon made the comment on the way down. He was like, "This thing actually rides pretty good."
Well, it's just your maintenance regimen on it. Like you don't fix it until the parts fall off.
No, I take better. That's my truck.
Oh, sorry.
But it was good. So I hear you're down to a single home family.
Yeah, we're pretty much homeless. We're down to only one house now.
I don't think that's homeless.
Oh, well, it is with us. And that, so I want to say one of our first or second episodes, I kind of got a little, I don't want to say heated, got a little excited about, the realtors and all that. And I'm here to tell you, like, I'm 100% like, use a realtor. Don't be cheap and try to list a house for sale by owner. Just have a realtor, right? Pay them their fair share. I ain't here to say what their fair share is because I ain't a realtor. I don't know what all goes into it. But you get right before you sell your house, 3 days beforehand, they got to give you this thing. It's called a closing disclosure. And it's your final numbers. It's what you're getting, what you're paying for, and any more. It's the closing costs are split, and ours was a lake house, so it wasn't like an FHA deal where we had to pay half their escrow. It's the cost to close minus building up an escrow or anything is split, and they sent their closing disclosure to us. And they weren't paying anything. We were carrying the whole load with it. A few days before closing, we got a call from the realtor wanting to know about the boat lift, wanting to know where the cover was for it. I'm like, I didn't even know the boat lift was part of this deal. Went back through, it wasn't listed anywhere, wasn't part of the deal. So really fast forward, because I couldn't get the guys who take the lifts out, I couldn't get them on the water anyways. It was never said it was part of the deal, but as far as I was concerned, it was staying with the house. But, I get the closing disclosure, and it shows the commissions, seller pays commissions to the buyer's agent and the listing agent. No big deal. I knew that going into it. The way things have changed, because when we bought the house, at that point, when we listed the house, you were still with the selling or the listing agent. You kind of went over the whole commission on both sides. And then some things changed. Now the buyer's agent, that's like 100% negotiable, and it's not, it can't be spelled out anymore.
Right.
My problem with the whole thing is at the bottom of the page, they charged me $135 to take care of the septic. Or I'm sorry, not the septic, the sewer, to take it out of my name. I called Kosciuszko REMC for my electric and for my internet, and I didn't even call them. They called me, said somebody's trying to put your electric in their name. Like, you okay with that? Like, yeah, it's going to be their house. But, I took the care of things at the post office. We've sold quite a few houses. Like, we know what to do. Why am I paying $135 for you to do? Oh, it's just convenience. So I paid that. So the buyers, they didn't have to pay any of that. The fees for closing at the title company, I paid all of that. And I went back through, and we're splitting closing. Like, that's what I said from the word go. And that's what she said. But no, somehow I got saddled with all that. And it was...
How can Can't you go back on that?
Well, so I said something. My agent was in Florida, and I'm not complaining about my agent. I think she did a good job.
I complain about her.
And that's fine. You could, but either way, we ended up paying like $17,000 in commission. And it's a lot of it's
with all you rich ones.
it's
guys.
go sell a house. Like you can this house you can put for sale by owner and have some luck with it. And but
oh God, no.
Yeah,
you should know me by now.
Yeah,
I don't care if a realtor comes and says, "Yeah, we'll sell your house for you, but we're taking 25%." I would pay the 25% because I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, and it's a club. Like that's 100% because people call up a realtor and go look for houses. They're not going to show for sale by owner houses. It's not you can say whatever they want, and I know realtors like this house. If you put it for sale by owner, you probably get realtors calling you saying, "I got somebody sign this contract and I'll bring them by." Excuse me, but what got me was the real estate company charged me in closing. I paid their commissions, and then at the bottom of the page, right next to the transfer of utilities, they charged me like $320 fee. That's like a paper fee. Okay, I thought I'm paying all this through there, and it's not even the fee that gets
should have been part of the commission.
Yes, and that's not what bothers me. It's they gave me a $200 gift card to Ruth Chris. I don't want the 200. I'm appreciative of it. You charge me 300 here. You give me 200 of it back for a steakhouse that I'm gonna go to. And if I take the whole family, it's gonna cost me another $200. It's like I don't want to make it sound like I'm unappreciative, but it's just
you're just a pain to deal with.
And right before we're going to closing, so it's in Syracuse. I'm just getting into like down the old downtown part.
Look on the bright side. You got paid to go do it.
Yeah, I did too. But I'm a quarter block away from the closing office. My realtor calls. She's in Florida, like I say. She says, "Hey, we have a problem." I'm like, "What?" The window's leaking water. One of the windows is leaking water. I'm like, "What? What was that? That's never happened. Those windows have never leaked. We've never had any issues."
Yeah, tell them tough.
I'm not saying, they don't want the house or anything, but she's like, just make sure you close today. Like, we're closing today. You don't worry about that. and they didn't. Like they wanted to buy a lake place. They were excited about it. And I told them, I says, we've had a weird wind and it's been raining. I says, one of our previous houses, this happened. I'm like, there's the windows they put in there work. They're just like the go to Menards, get the $99 window, and they got that. They got that
crappy
piece.
Seal.
Yeah. Well, it's like it's meant to go up against a certain type of siding, and all it does at the top's make a trough for water to come in.
Right.
They didn't caulk them up. So I told them, I said, I imagine that's all it needs. We'll see. We'll see whatever happens. I mean,
Doesn't matter now. You sign the paper.
And you sign. If you ever sold a house, you sign a paper saying you're good with the condition it's in. I sign a paper saying the house is in better shape, or at least the same shape as when they bought it. But yeah, that's gone. And so my wife took the half day off work. She took check to the bank, cash, or put it in savings. And I don't know. We were 2 hours after we'd closed. It's just bling, bling, bling. She is sending me all kinds of property in Michigan, which 100% is why we did this.
Yeah.
But
Right.
yeah, and then she's sending me pictures of houses she likes. And
I was say, I don't want you to leave the area, but at the same token, I'm really excited for you guys to buy a place in Michigan.
yeah,
It is. Me and Brandon have talked about this. I hadn't been up into Michigan other than being up there working on service calls and stuff in southern Michigan. But when we went to Mackinac, I have hesitations about it because it's stupid flat. It's like here. If your dog runs away in northern Indiana, you can watch your dog run away for 6 days straight. You literally can. Because it's flat and just everything is in front of you. All you do is see corn or beans. It's irritating. Northern Michigan is basically the exact same way, other than there's water around.
Yeah.
Big water, I should say. But like, I get the attraction to it too. Like when we were in the UP last summer, it was like, I get it. Because that was, well, I told you, I was like, I seen that one 40-acre tract, and I was like, and it was literally like, me and Brandon rode past a 40-acre tract that was $1,000 an acre, and I'm like, I didn't even know you could still buy ground for $1,000 an acre.
Our old boss said it best. You go across that bridge, there's two kinds of people. There's people that never want to come back, and you know, then there's the rest of them.
And in all honesty, if it wasn't for all the other places that me and Carmen want to go, I almost would go up there and buy. Because like that 40-acre tract that we rode past, it was like, it was just full of timber. It was a wooded lot.
But Michigan's got its downfall, and that's where we want to end up. But the downfall of Michigan is it's like Illinois.
Yeah.
Illinois' got one city that decides what happens to the rest of that beautiful state.
Yeah.
And Michigan's got two. And it's not to get political on it, but it's democratic. It's a lot of people on the system, and I'm not gonna lie, like the governor kind of scares me a little bit, and it's comments like our governor said some dumb shit too. Beep. Yeah. But our governor said some dumb stuff too.
Yeah, you got to make sure you beep yourself. I found out the people at church listen.
Yeah, but
I've never been so terrified by life.
I don't know if you've heard the governor's made comments about all the empty houses that are within the state, second homes. Yeah, that's all Michigan is. All the second homes that are in Michigan, and like why can't these people live in them?
I think Dickie still owns his house because that dude worked for General Motors in Detroit for years. I mean, he retired out of there and moved back to the family farm in Kentucky.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he still has his place in Michigan.
Detroit. I gotta go to Detroit. When was it, before Thanksgiving?
I forgot about that.
And for work, and that is, you know, me and you are the same. We don't, you can take us through some rough parts of town, and we're pretty comfortable enough with ourselves that we're still going to have fun in them and look at stuff, but we don't see ghettos. We see the history. It's like, man, these people, and like when this place was in its heyday. And
that's it's like, well, I think I've told you about that. That's one of my favorite things to do now is when I go to Mom's is to drive through. When my mom and dad were dating, Fountain Square in Indy was like, that's where Mom and Dad would go on dates. It was a happening place. There was a theater. There was stuff going on. When I was a kid, Fountain Square was a hole. I mean, it was an absolute crappy place to be.
Yeah.
I mean, you could literally go into Fountain Square and you could buy a house in the 90s for probably $25,000. Like 2,500 square foot Victorian.
And that's why we like the hipsters now.
Yeah,
They will go in there and they'll start.
It's how Fountain Square is all, I mean, it's totally changing.
Yeah. No,
totally changing.
I like that. So I mean, same thing in Fort Wayne around the old St. Joe downtown. I mean, it's Lutheran Hospital now.
I can't wait to see what it looks like when they get the old GE stuff done.
Oh my gosh, that's
gonna be...
I wish Homer was still alive to be able to see that.
Absolutely.
Because I think that would probably took him back, and he could have seen what happened. You know, but there's like
but see, that's the thing. As much as I don't want to live in a big city, to me, that's the thing that needs to be happening. And that makes me so happy to see some of that old architecture and just these beautiful, beautiful old homes being saved.
Yeah.
And well, even GE, I mean, they've basically gutted the one side of the factory. I mean, the only thing that's still GE is the brick outside building.
Yeah.
But it's like, if I can with some of the other stuff that I've seen them do in Fort Wayne, I look forward to seeing the GE area fixed back up, because I think it'll change things dramatically.
Yeah, well, and that is.
I love to go and visit. I just don't want to live there.
If I ever lived in town, that's exactly where I'd live, though. Like,
absolutely.
If you paid me,
when they redid that building in Columbia City and turned it into the condos.
Yeah.
It's like, you'll never get me to live in town. But I would seriously buy a condo on the corner so I could look at the courthouse.
Yeah.
And I would walk to the coffee shop, and I would walk to the barber shop.
Get your buckwheat pancakes. But that's how you get small town America back. And that's like, you were saying stuff about the hipsters. And we really don't. We have nothing in common with the hipsters. But at the same time,
at the same time, we have everything in common.
And it's like, we got your back on it. I'm all against government regulation, but I do like when there's historical districts. It's like, protect these houses.
I just don't want a dude wearing skinny jeans, Doc Martens, and a red and black checked flannel telling me I can't smoke here.
Yeah, well, but he'd probably be asking you what you smoke, and his pipe would be plastic. Sorry, Mike.
With a screen in it.
Yeah. Bob, I don't know why this screen's in here. That dude, I tell you, you listen to that last episode, and I didn't say much. That dude, he hit right there at home, like when he told his story about his career.
Yeah.
I felt bad because we had to get going, and it's like, I just want to sit there and talk to him.
It was funny. So Jenin, one of the other guys that's helping Mike out with the Hoosier Firewood Hysteria, he shot me a text yesterday and says, "Hey, we're going to be moving logs around at the campground. He's like, we could use another loader. Is there any way you could be there? I'm sorry it's short notice." It was like, dude, I would absolutely love to do it, but I have to work tomorrow.
You doing opinions
tomorrow? I
tomorrow?
took a 4-day weekend last weekend so I could go to the pipe show and come home and got basically punished. I've had to work ridiculous hours all week and had to work today.
You doing opinion seal tomorrow?
I'm going to start tearing it apart tomorrow.
Yeah. You've tore those rear ends apart so much. Yeah. Not only just what you've done here, but also in your professional career.
I was gonna say, I've done a lot of 9 1/4 American rear diffs and bigger.
Yeah. Well,
actually on the Americans, it's mainly been 9 1/4. So I've mainly done 1/2-ton trucks.
Okay.
Now I used to do a lot of Dana 60 and Dana 80s. Because that was when I worked at the Chrysler dealership. That was one of my main jobs, was doing differentials. I don't know how I got into doing differentials all them. It's like every place I've ever worked is like, hey, we need you to do a rear end. It's like, even when I worked for you at the city, God, how many of them damn Eaton Fuller?
With me.
Whatever.
With.
How many of them mini spools did you help put in?
You just seemed like you liked doing them.
Oh my God. It was a lot. I think we did the first one together, and then I did the other 7.
Yeah, we did them together. Yeah, you did great though.
I don't know why I was always good at that.
Yeah, that
drive line and steering and suspension. Other than I hated transmissions. I didn't like doing transmissions.
I was going to check my phone earlier. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of hoping for some rain. Hey, something I did do today. I did my, and then the rain's just, I ain't gonna take next Friday off. Or not go in. So I did my
arm. We're on 12s all week this week. I'll probably be off on Friday too, so I can because I have to get my truck put back together next weekend.
Did some onboarding stuff for the ferry company that I'm gonna work part-time for this year.
Oh, good deal.
Yeah, I don't know. It's different. You know what the dress code is? Neutral colored shoes and khakis. I've never had a job.
You're gonna look like a pharmacist. We love you, Mike.
Yeah, we do. I've never had a job I've never had a job with really a dress code. It's always been like, you're going to trash your clothes or here's your uniform.
Oh, yeah.
Go and
Well, I called you on the way home today to let you know that I would be home at a certain time. So whenever you wanted to do the podcast, we'd get together. And I told you that was, I am just covered head to toe because I've been wallering around on the floor under an 815 compactor all day, welding stands on the cleaner stands on the stupid thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I had dirt in places I didn't know a fully dressed man could get dirt.
Yeah, well, that's like I say. I wouldn't mind some good old rain days because I got to run to take apart and get a few things for my pickup and tear the front end apart on it.
You doing that before you drive it to Florida or after?
No, before. That's why. Taking it to Florida, that's its test.
Then you better get your butt in gear. You're running out of days.
I got 2 weeks ish.
2 weeks from today?
No, I got next week. And I got next week.
Yeah.
I'll be just fine. The only thing I want to do is put new spindles on the front. And you know why? Because about the time you realize you got a hub going out, you got, and that's where we talk about heat soaking.
I forgot about that. You said something to me about it because you wanted to use my tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, I just want to put, I don't know, there's nothing wrong with the hubs on there, but I don't know if they're a AutoZone brand or something, or if the guy did what most everybody does and just uses their impact and over torques them. And so I did what I do. I SKF or Tinkham, either one of those brands. But yeah, that is, I'm real excited. I'm real excited about that. And getting the house sold, we took a little bit off the monthly expenses there. And yeah, I really just kind of waiting for my boss to what sub. I'm like, listen here, pal. Like,
you don't understand. I have less expenses now.
Yeah.
I can really tell you to stick it.
Yeah, well, it's all also going up and do this. The best case scenario, I'm breaking even every week. You got to pay to stay somewhere up there. They have employee housing, but it doesn't matter how many times you stay there. You get it for the month. So for me, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But I mean,
because that's the worst part about being up like around Mackinac City is it is so expensive.
Everything. And
that was the place that me and Brandon stayed last summer when we were up there on our motorcycle trip. I think we were paying $220, $230 a night. No, it had been $250 because I paid, my half was $250, and we only stayed at that place 2 nights. Carmen and Hadley are talking about going up this summer.
Yeah,
just my wife and daughter doing a girls trip.
You guys didn't go to the island?
No.
It's I don't know. That's our goal, and it's always great. It's always fun to dream, but once it's like, oh crap, we can do this. Then you're looking at everything, and my biggest worry is we sell our place around here. I know that's the last time I'll ever live in the country. For one reason, I could never afford me and Katie are high earners. Yeah. We could never afford what we have right now if we had to buy it again.
Well, that's like our place here. You hear me complain about it all the time. Let's be realistic. I live in a double wide on a basement.
You live in a modular.
I live in a double wide on a basement. When I got the last time our reassessment for our property taxes come last year, and I opened that and I looked at that, I looked at my wife and said, you best be glad we bought this place when we did, because there ain't no way in hell I'd have bought it for this price.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's, I've told Katie, I'm like, we buy something up there and we build, and we can't build our dream house because their taxes are out of control.
Yeah.
You know, you build a good cottage, we're still almost better off to build something smaller and just keep the place down here and rent it. Or but like we got the wood boiler, I got my shop, I got the buildings, I got the woods. If I ever rented that, I'd have to rent to somebody I knew who I know wouldn't go into that woods and just start cutting $1,000 trees down.
Right.
And because there's still a lot of good.
You have to get your old buddy Bob to be the property manager.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Somebody'd go over there and just start shooting and yelling.
Don't worry, I'll charge you a fair fee.
Yeah, it's, I can't.
Some guy that can afford 2 houses.
Yeah,
I'm poor. I can't afford
that. Anybody out there, you know, I get that. We get blown crap about that a lot, and
I know that's why I make sure.
Anybody out there can afford 2 houses if you want to.
Yeah, that's. I think people can afford whatever they want if they really want to.
Yeah. And there ain't nothing wrong if you want to take your money and go waste half of it. I shouldn't say waste it because that's already sounded derogatory. If you want to spend half your paycheck at the bar every week, go do that. It ain't bothering me. It ain't messing with me.
Doesn't bother me.
But don't tell me I can't trust a guy who won't come drink beer with me. It's like, buddy, I got plans. And go and drink beer at the bar. Like, come drink beer at my house. Let's go buy a case of beer. Like, let's do some math here and go buy a case of beer for a quarter of what it costs at the bar.
And I don't have to worry about getting a DUI.
Yeah.
Because I'm at home.
Yeah. Well, your coworkers get those for you. That's no. I think I think that's where we'll end up landing is on that island. But
I hope so. I mean, I really do for you guys. Like I said, I would absolutely hate you not being 15 minutes away.
You got to start moving your own stuff.
Absolutely. But I would. That's the other reason you got to keep that house. I got to have a boiler I can get rid of all my crap firewood.
Owen's already said, he's like, why don't you let me know if you're going to sell that? I didn't have
you could just rent it to Owen. Then you wouldn't have to worry about somebody cutting down on your trees.
Yeah. No, I would be all okay with that if it'd be like, we're going to do this on like 5-year terms.
You could do a 5-year, do it on a lease.
Yeah. But he'd have, I mean, the thing is with that, like if I'm leasing it, or I'm coming back.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. In all honesty, and you're there, once Hadley's gone, even with us, when the girls are gone, I don't need all that. Because if something happens to me, Katie's got to sell it. She can't take care of the place without me.
But,
and at that
Carmen
point,
already does most of the mowing here, so she'll figure it out.
But it's the oddball stuff. Like you have a plug that's not working in your house. You go and fix that. That's $200 it cost her.
Well, and I don't know. I think it's different for Carmen and I because we only have one child, young adult, whatever. And so, like, I honestly, I think in the long term, I think Hadley will wind up with this place. Hadley will be the one that has to decide what to do.
You're a lot better person than me. I wouldn't sell it to my kids. Like that house.
I don't have any plan to sell it to.
Oh, you're just saying when you keel over?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't sell to the kids because, I mean.
Well, and I honestly I don't think Carmen and I are. At one point in time, I thought we would seriously consider moving. And not year-round, but like we had seriously considered going a little farther south, like southeast Kentucky, eastern Tennessee, northwestern North Carolina, down in the Appalachia someplace.
Yeah.
We both love it down there. And I've been going down there since I was a kid, and I just love that area. And I don't know. The more we've looked at stuff, it's like, and of course, on top of that, me and Carmen, the more we've talked about other places that we would like to go and visit in the U.S. Um, I think we're gonna stay here till we're not left.
So I want to ask you a question.
What's that?
So you still think about getting a camper?
Yeah.
Why don't we redo a bus? Or a
Okay.
Mercedes Sprinter?
Because I don't. I have no desire to have something like that.
Just asking.
So,
would you do an enclosed trailer and build one?
I would consider that, yeah.
If before, and you know, I want you to
for
buy.
sure, because I would, in all honesty, I would rather, if I knew that I could do it, I would rather buy like a 24-foot enclosed trailer and build my own, because for some of the places we want to go, I can't pull a trailer over 30 foot. So I want to stay under that range, but I want a place that I can load a motorcycle on, either in it or mounted to the back of it, which is the other reason I want it in a bumper pull or fifth wheel application, preferably a bumper pull. For that very reason, that way if we go someplace and I want to go on a motorcycle ride, because Carmen will not ride on a motorcycle, I can go ride on a motorcycle. Carmen can take off in the truck, and Carmen doesn't have to drag the house with her.
Yeah.
And we don't have to find a place to, board wiener dogs while we're gone.
I know Kurt, they bought their camper. It was one of the COVID campers.
Mm-hmm.
But, he's camped his whole life, and he's a pretty thorough guy. And that thing, they've just had issue after... And his issues is always the warranty. And he's like you or me. I bought this. I got a warranty with it. And yeah, as silly as this problem is, you're going to fix it because you give me a warranty.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where he's had his issues. But that's what... It's like, well, Bob's pretty handy. You could build something. So, is it still this summer? Because you were talking this summer about buying a truck.
Yeah, I'm still seriously thinking about a truck this summer. And then probably next year doing the camper thing.
Yeah.
Because I really wanted to start getting Carmen to go with me and look at campers. And, because, I think that's something we need to do together. In all honesty, I think she's going to fall back on what I'm good with.
Yeah.
As long as she has someplace nice that's clean and she can sleep in, I don't think Carmen cares, but the only time she's ever complained was that hotel we stopped at when we first got into Texas driving to South Padre a couple of years ago. She was not impressed. The rest of us fell asleep just fine. I think she was up all night.
Aren't you going again this year?
The girls want to, but I honestly don't know if we are or not.
Yeah, I've tried with Kurt to get him to buy a lake place or even a seasonal campsite over there on the Barbie chain.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, why would I ever want to be? I got a camper. It's got wheels on it for a reason. Like,
and see, and that's kind of, I'm with Kurt 100%.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I've landed, was because I was just hell-bent on buying a vacation property for many, many years. And the more I started doing motorcycle trips, and the more Carmen and I had talked about it, there's just so many places we want to go to. Like, I would love to go. I'd love to spend like a month up in Maine.
Oh my God.
I would love to spend some time in New Hampshire.
But
now, the scary part about going to New Hampshire is I'm afraid if I go to New Hampshire, I think that's when I'll be calling a realtor and say, sell the house and auction all my crap off. I'm going to come back this weekend and take what I want out of there, and then call an auction company.
Going up that direction, the problem is, like the month, if you're going to spend a month in Maine, you're going to need to take a month and a half off just going to Maine. The history.
Yeah.
You can't go in northeast and not.
No, I think that would be really cool, but that's kind of why we decided that maybe the camper route was the better route for us.
Yeah, I've talked to caterers. These things are called Nordic tugs. It's a tugboat that's kind of a tugboat / camper, I guess. And there's this thing. It's called the Great American Loop. Go on the Great Lakes, go through the Great Lakes, down the Mississippi, into the Gulf.
Yeah.
Then you can go through the ICW through Florida or go down around the Keys.
Believe it or not, I've actually heard of this.
Yeah. Go down to St. Lawrence Seaway, back to the Great Lakes.
I got into watching them, a couple different YouTubers that sailed. And one of them that I watched talked about that was... I didn't watch all of them, but that was basically what they were doing.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like if you're gonna do it, you find somebody else that's gonna do it because you go out with like a buddy boat, and because everybody you're gonna have an issue. Right. You ain't taking a boat that far not having an issue. But like those tugs, that's why I like those. They're B series Cummins.
Right.
It's like
absolutely.
I know exactly what to throw in there and.
I know all the spare parts. We'll just stop at the local Cummins dealer and I'll pick up the spare parts I need on the way.
Yeah, we will not be down longer than half an hour.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, it's really nice. Just you're at the same point in your life too that you can kind of start doing this fun stuff. And
yeah, that's the part I like is being able to kind of do, It's nice finally getting to that point where you have some, and I'm not trying to say that I'm independently wealthy or anything.
Well, we know y'all are working all these 12s.
And they passed that stupid legislation and I don't have to pay tax on my overtime. Yeah. That'd be fantastic. Of course, I think I'll hit that limit a lot faster that way too.
Yeah. Well, there ain't nothing stopping that legislation right now.
Well, I'm sorry, and I don't think you should ever have to pay tax on more than 40 hours myself.
Yeah. What was the other thing? The Commerce Secretary come out and he's like, "Well, Donald Trump wants anybody making under 150 not to have to pay tax." And listen to this though. I think everybody's hearing this wrong. Like, oh, I make $40 an hour, I'm going to get $40 an hour. No. That is federal tax. We're just talking federal tax. Mm-hmm. It's not like you're going to still pay Social Security, folks. And you go look at Medicare and Social Security.
You're still going to pay state tax.
Yep. And that's what's hitting. Like federal sucks too. I get it, but this isn't. It's a minuscule pay raise. Like it's still going to be a pay raise.
Yeah.
But
and to me, the more tax we can get rid of, the better.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Consumption tax all the way.
Absolutely.
Just go that flat tax.
I'm game for consumption tax.
And it's like you want to go after the rich. That goes after the rich.
That goes to me. That's the only way it's fair.
Yeah, it gets the drug dealers. It gets everyone.
If you don't want to pay in, then just don't buy anything.
Yep.
Because I don't think it can. I still don't think it should affect like food. When you go to the grocery store. Unprepared food, we don't pay sales tax on food. And I think there are food, medication. I think those two things I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Because those are things people are going to need.
Yeah.
And utilities, stuff like that. But like if you buy a house, you buy a car, you buy clothes, you buy pipes and tobacco. I got no issues with paying a consumption tax if I ain't paying all these other taxes.
Yeah, because then you decide.
Yeah,
you decide on what it is, and that's.
And people get all bent out of shape on that, but people don't. I don't think people look at their paycheck and realize, oh, God, I would make this much more money if I wasn't paying all this other crap.
Was it you who told me how to fix the tax system is to no longer directly take it out of your paychecks, make everybody pay that quarterly?
No, the first time I heard that was you told me.
That is, and I agree. If every quarter you got to write yourself, you got to write the government a $5,000 check, it's going to change real
The
quick.
problem is everybody be behind on their taxes with the exception of a handful of people.
Yeah, well, it's still it would get. We got to pay tax. At the end of the day, we have to pay tax to have the protection we have, to have roads, to have all this stuff. And people will tell you, oh, in the 1930s or whatever, there wasn't. In the 1930s, we were still going down dirt roads, and it was a lot different.
K County, where I live. I mean, I remember it had miles of dirt road still when I first moved here.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's changed in the 20 years.
You'll find a stone road anymore. They're not out there. One house gets put on a road. Next thing you know, they're paving the whole road. But yeah, I'd like to see that happen. Dropped off all of our tax stuff, the accountant, and we got rolling. And like he always says, you never own your house as long as you're paying taxes.
Yeah, that's one thing that really chaps me.
How is it somebody over the age of 65 is still paying tax on a house?
The only time you should ever have to pay property taxes on your primary residence. On your primary residence. The only time you should ever pay tax on that, in my opinion, is if the bank technically owns it.
Yeah.
As soon as it's paid off, I don't think you should have to.
No.
And I'd rather not pay property taxes at all myself, but I try to look at everything as a compromise, because as much as I disagree with the government, I know we still have to fund the government to keep our infrastructure up. Now, I think they need to do a better job of spending money on said projects, and
yeah, well, yeah, it's a slippery slope, though.
It is.
It is, because like you look at the companies you and I work for, especially you, like there's language in the state bids that say if you're going to do work for us, your employees have to have certain educational programs, i.e., union apprenticeships.
Yeah.
But that also, I don't think it doubles. And I'm saying, like, I'm 100%. The union gets stuff done faster. And it's you call for a journeyman operator, you're gonna get somebody who has been in a piece of equipment, qualified in a piece of equipment, and it's been documented.
Yeah, I still don't trust them.
Well,
I have to repair the crap they tear up.
Yeah, but that's the foreman. Like these guys are tearing that stuff up because their foreman's screaming at them to get it done faster.
Yeah.
See, that's like our problems are all because the machines are idling too much.
Yeah. But you got to remember, I've put buckets back together that they told me, well, we were just busting up salt with it. I'm like, yeah. You tore the cutting edge in two. How did you bust the cutting edge on a 66-inch bucket off of a, what was that, a 345 excavator?
Yeah.
I mean, give me a break. You were doing something stupid.
Yeah, they were. And that's...
And not only that, is like, that one really cracked me up because they were saying, well, we were using it trying to bust up the salt. It's like, do I look stupid? I can tell by the direction that it's broke that you were pulling, not
yeah.
smashing. It's like, that's broke the wrong direction to go along with your story. But...
Yep. That's why I'm going to go work on boats. Or go work on...
I get hollered to fix it faster, but nobody gets in trouble for breaking it in the first place.
Yeah, well, you're singing the age-old tune there, man.
Oh, yeah, I know.
That's...
Welcome to life in the maintenance department.
Yeah. You guys still on 12s this week?
As far as I know, we're on 12s till they tell us we're not. So.
Oh, so it's about July?
I hope not. I'll tell you, if we're on 12s, I don't care as long as it's Monday through Friday. But I need Saturday and Sunday. We've discussed this before. It's an hour to work and it's an hour home from work. So if I do nothing but drive back and forth to work, that's 14 hours of my day that's shot in the butt. So that means I gotta have some time to get something done at home. It's starting to warm up, but I'm still having to get firewood rounded up and keep the wood rack on the porch full, and that really eats into that time. And then I still go to the gym, 5 days a week, and which I told you I told you I was going to lose it on this. So
I've been waiting.
This is just something. I want to put this out there to the world at large. If you use a gym, I don't care what it is, Planet Fitness, Anytime Fitness, whoever it is, those are two of the big gyms around us. If you go to one of them places, I don't care if it is 7:30 at night and there's only 3 people in the gym. Use the crap that you're using, get done, and get the heck out of the way. When you camp out on something for God only knows how long, and I'm not a guy, I will change what I'm doing. But like last night, I stopped on my way home to work out, and these 2 booger eaters kept chatting with one another. They would load machines up with weight, and then they would stand and talk for 20 minutes. I am dead serious. I was in the gym, did my entire workout before I watched the guy finish his bench sets. And I'm like, I did my entire leg workout in the time it took you to use the flat bench.
I got a home gym because this is not sexist, because of women pairs. Or 2 guys even. A lot of guys. Like they go in the gym, they just want to talk.
Well, that's what it was last night. It was 2 dudes that were in there together, and it was like, boys, pound sand or get to it.
Yeah.
And the one dude, I watched the one guy was walking around the gym setting weights down on the floor, like plates. I'm like, and then he just walked off put 2 plates on the floor, left a paper towel there that you would use to spray down your machine and then clean it when you're finished.
Yeah.
And then a booger eater walks off and does something else. And I still haven't figured out what he was doing with that crap. He didn't put it on a machine, he just set it down on the floor. And it's like, oh my God. But yeah, just if you're going to go, you're doing supersets. So you're possibly using 2 machines. Use those 2 machines. But get your crap done and get done. It's a gym. It is not, despite what everybody seems to think, it is not a social club. If you want to do that, where I work out, if you want it to be a social club, get your workout in, go down to the bar at the end of the strip mall and hang out at the bar. That's a social club. The gym is not. I feel bad because I've been going to the same gym long enough now that it's like, there's people that I kind of recognize and we kind of to somewhat know one another from being at the gym for several years together, and we see each other on a daily basis. And I'm not asking them how their kids are or anything, but we're cordial with one another. Hi, how you doing? That's the extent of me talking at the gym. I'm here to get something done.
You ain't like Sam Sulek? You ain't setting the camera up?
God, no.
You got any of those people?
I have seen some of those folks in there. Generally, they're there in times that I'm not. Because if we weren't working 12s, I would still be getting up and going in the morning. But I have been struggling to get to bed at a decent time. Like all this past week. We've been starting at 6 and working till 6:30. So like I'm leaving the house, absolute latest I can leave the house is 5 a.m. Well, I haven't been getting to bed till 11.
5 a.m. comes real quick.
5 a.m. when you're not going to bed till 11. And if I go to bed at 11, that means I'm awake till midnight.
Wait, catching up on social media.
No, I honestly, that's one of the things that probably helps me is sometimes I need to stare at it because it puts me to sleep. But you and I have talked about this. I have a heck of a time. I can sit down in a recliner and I'm out in no time flat. I go in and lay down at night to go to bed, and I stare at the ceiling for I don't know how long. And it's like, that's when I usually start. After about 20, 30 minutes, I'll pick up my phone and I start screwing around on my phone because it's like, I need something to like make me stupid so I go to sleep. But it's been crazy. So I've been working out, and I'm going to try and do a better job this week and get up and go before work, because the thing I noticed this week was going after work, and I didn't even try to get up this past week and go before work. I'm just going to go after work, because not getting to the gym, like I leave work at 6:30. It's like 7:15 before I get to the gym. By the time I drive from Fort Wayne to Columbia City, get into the gym, change my clothes. I'm up, out, come home. I'll throw some food down my gullet, take a shower. Well, now I've just been like, it's been even worse. It's like now I'm like ready to fly. Like I'm ready to get the day started.
Yeah.
And so it's like been even harder to go to bed. So this week I'm going to try. But the other trouble I struggle with is with the time change and that stuff, and it being daylight. And we put blackout curtains in the bedroom many, many years ago because when I was still working at the pontoon place, I was getting up at, even back then, I was leaving the house at 4 in the morning to go to work, or getting up at 4 so I could go to work. And so I was going to bed in the summertime. I was in bed by 9.
Yeah.
Well, the sun's still shining. So like that hasn't.
You tried a box fan?
No.
I can't go to sleep without one.
Really?
I need that noise. And I go to sleep like within 5 minutes.
Really? I'll try. Now, that's the totally serious jacked up part. I'm dead serious. If it wasn't for if I had my phone charger and all that crap to work, because I use my phone for my alarm, because if the power goes out, I know my alarm still goes off. One of these days I'm going to get a whole house generator instead of the generator we got. But anyways, if I had all that stuff sitting out next to my recliner, I'd probably just sleep in it, because I'm dead serious. I can sit down in a recliner and I'm out no time flat. Carmen laughs at that. Like we'll sit down, like tonight, more than likely, we'll sit down and after supper, we'll usually, or in the evening before bed, we'll usually watch a movie or something on Saturday nights when there's nothing going on. And I guarantee you, I won't make it through the show. I will be unconscious in the chair. And Carmen's like, I don't understand, when you go to bed, you're wide awake. I'm like, I don't know what the deal is either. Now, I will say this. We bought that fancy bed when we bought all the new furniture that's got I call it a hospital bed because it'll raise your feet and raise your back and do all that sort of goofy crap. And I really like that. I should have not been a tightwad, and I should have bought a king. Me and Carmen, since we've been married, have had a queen bed. And I should have bought the king instead of sticking with a queen, because the king, when you get it, it's independent. A queen, it does both sides at the same time.
Oh, so you got to both be happy with.
Yeah, and Carmen does not like being jacked up, as she refers to it, as being tacoed. And like, because I can mimic the recliner in the bed now.
Yeah.
And if I do that, I'm done.
She don't want to be tacoed.
But she don't want to be tacoed, so
that's funny.
It's been weird. But yeah. Back to it. If you're in the gym, get done and get the heck out of the way.
Yeah. Or you'll get tacoed.
You irritate fat, balding, or fat, bearded guys like me.
Well, I think that's a sign of aging, just getting irritated by everything.
Oh, it was frustrating. Absolutely frustrating. Oh, speaking of the gym, something you and I have discussed. I don't know that this is important for a podcast, but I'm going to tell you anyways.
All right.
So, you and I have been talking, one of the things that, because I had been struggling with some being tired a lot and stuff like that. And you and I had discussed some things, and I've been researching some things. So, and this is going to sound funny for a pasty fat white guy, but I've been taking vitamin D and K and some other crap. And then I got this bright idea also to due to some research I was doing short stints in the tanning bed for the UV light, right? To help with the vitamin D and all that, So I've been experimenting with that. But you said something about red light therapy.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the changes that they're doing there where I work out. Apparently the tanning bed is going away and they're getting red light therapy.
Now, is that included or is that like an upgrade to your membership?
So that's part of your membership.
Yeah.
But they're going to do away with the tanning bed.
That is, yeah.
I hate to admit this. God, I can't believe I'm going to say this out loud. I finally figured out why my wife always likes to tan. And she doesn't tan like she doesn't go to the tanning bed like she used to. But I have finally figured out why Carmen, that is probably I hate to say this, it's probably one of the most relaxing things I've ever done.
Laying in a glass bed naked?
I wasn't naked. Right. I got my skivvies on. I don't want my jewels getting
I don't know how that works. No, that's good. Yeah, that red light stuff, that's the cutting edge.
I'm dead serious. You get done with a workout, this will make some people gross. Because now I'm a fat, hairy, sweaty guy climbing into a public tanning bed. Oh my God. But you go in there, you get in there, and you lay down, and that thing gets so hot, which really boggles my mind because I'm like already hot because I just got done working out. But it was like, you lay down in that thing, and it's like, Carmen says, what are you going to do if you fall asleep? I was like, I already thought about that. I set the alarm on my phone.
No.
I set the alarm on my phone because the tanning bed shuts off anyways, because you set it for a time. But I set the alarm on my phone or the timer on my phone for 2 minutes longer than what I set the tanning bed for. But I don't know if it's making a difference or not because I haven't been doing it very long. But like, I will say, I can't say that. Let me back up. I'll say I've started to notice a minor difference. In like in the morning when I wake up, I'm awake.
Oh, okay.
Where I used to I've always been one to since you and I've worked together. I've always gotten up at a pretty decent time, other than usually I'll sleep in on Saturday and Sunday because I don't have to unless we got something going on. I don't have to get up, so I usually sleep in till about 6:30 on the weekends. But most of the time I'm up at 4, pretty regular, at the latest. And I'm always kind of groggy at first, which is part of the reason I always get up because I got to kind of get up and get moving. And I'm not one to just, I know most days, don't get me wrong, I get up and I'm throwing crap on and I'm out the door. Mm-hmm. But I'm groggy through it. But I've noticed since I've been doing that, I don't know if it's just a change in routine or if it's actually from doing that, but I'm going to keep doing it.
It's doing something.
I'm going to keep doing it till they do away with the old tanning bed. And then I probably will try the red light therapy for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. The bad part is I might have to get if they do away with that, and I really kind of like the tanning bed, I might have to get a membership to the other gym so I can go tan.
I was wondering how long it was going to take for the gyms to start. I can't believe they don't have cold plunges.
I'm glad that they went that route. Somebody told me they were getting one of those hydro massage tables. I'm like, yeah, that would be nice, but I'm not going to use that.
Yeah.
But you get like some red light therapy. I definitely am interested in trying that. Not that I'm like a super health nut or anything like that, but I don't know. I'm to that point. And you and I have talked about it a lot. I just want to try and keep myself in the best shape that I can. I mean, I still am fat and flabby, but like I'm not near as bad as I was once.
Yeah. The next thing you know, you'll be buying the sheets that you plug into the ground.
What?
They got grounding sheets. That's another big thing, is like grounding yourself. But they're,
I thought that all you had to do that was walk through your grass in bare feet.
well, a lot of people don't have that option.
I do.
I get it. I mean,
that's another funny sight to see me
barefoot,
wandering around the yard barefoot.
Yeah. Now I think
I'll be honest. Most people, other than my wife and daughter, are the only people that ever get to see that. Because generally I have boots on first thing in the morning, and I don't take them off till I get into bed.
See, I'd be working in some. Oh, what are they? What's the dad shoe? What are those?
The dad shoes, some New Balance.
New Balances. I'll have me some New Balances and some khakis that just barely touch them.
You're gonna have to start buying some khakis so you can play on your shrimp boat.
Yeah,
as Chad says.
Yeah.
He was in the shop today. He's like, "Is Mark shrimp boat captain yet?"
Chad, I'm over here. No.
He come in looking for a piece of exhaust. He sent me so he's been working down at the shop that they had rented for the winter.
Yeah.
So he's been down there working. And he sent me a muffler off of a scraper. Told him to see if I could weld it up. There's nothing left of it. Like, there's nothing to weld up.
Yeah.
It's like, the muffler canister itself is good, but the flange part that you want me to fix, there's nothing there. Yeah. I can't rebuild it. There's nothing to build.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, you'll have to buy it. So he stops and he's like, yeah, I heard you couldn't weld up my muffler. He's like, so I was here to get the stack. I was like, yeah, it's in here. And then he's getting ready to leave. I was like, I thought you needed this stack. He's like, nope, I'm on vacation next week. And left. It's like, whatever.
Kids on spring break?
I would presume so. I don't have to keep track of that anymore because my kid's not in school.
Yeah. We're taking our kids to Florida, then they come back the next week and go on spring break. But I can't.
That's funny.
Yeah, well, I could, but it won't work out right timing wise for us because they'll be on spring break when I'm going down or going up for my first day or orientation or whatever.
When's that?
The 10th.
10th of
April.
Holy cow, that's that's quick.
Yeah.
That's right around the corner.
Yep, it's getting right there, and I'm ready. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous. It's first job I've ever. It's the first time I've moved jobs in a long time where I have absolutely no clue what to expect.
Yeah.
But before it was like, we're just fixing stuff, just different name on the shirt.
Yeah.
Now it's like, no. And I'm gonna be working with a bunch of college kids on summer break. They warned me about that. They're like, you're gonna have to like kind of be a parent to these. I'm like, how old do you think I am? Like, I'm not saying I'm their age at all. I am not their father. Then I'm like, crap.
I hate to break it to you.
I could be.
I was gonna say, you're not that much younger than me.
Yeah, and that would be exactly what age they are. No.
There you go. So you're going to be dealing with kids that are Hadley's age.
Yeah.
I'll do you some good.
No,
You could be teaching a 3rd grader how to swing a hammer.
No.
Because their parents are useless and never taught them.
Like I told them when I started, like,
which means their grandparents were useless because they never taught their kids. It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah. Well, I told them in the interview because they were real worried that
I hope if they do away with the education department that they bring back shop class.
Yeah. Well,
We
go to the States.
Yeah.
Ain't that something though? You get these people like it says our education is going to go to crap. Our education is already at crap.
Yeah.
Like we ain't doing that good.
Bring back home ec and bring back shop class. I think everybody should have to take that stuff.
Yeah.
I think it did a lot of kids in our age group or our generation. It did them a lot of good.
Yeah, and start doing stuff in inner cities though, where the kids can graduate. Give them the chance to graduate.
Yep.
You know.
Hey, speaking of last weekend, did you notice I got some new decorations?
I see that.
Yeah. That's pretty snazzy.
Was that a some
so what
swag,
we're
or did you have
is
to buy
I
that?
got a tin Missouri Meerschaum Company sign to hang up here in the barn. I'll try and take a picture of it and post it on the old Instagram. So the last pipe, okay, I can't say that. One of the pipes I bought last weekend was Missouri Meerschaum. And I seen those 10 signs, and me, Ace, and Brandon were all standing there together. And Brandon said something about the metal signs, and I was like, that would be cool to get and have to put in the basement when we finish the basement. And I was like, they weren't overly expensive, so we're gonna have to keep the podcast a little shorter. Yeah. But anyways, no. So I was buying one of them signs, and they were, I don't remember, $20 or $22 for one of the 10 signs. And Brandon said something about it looking good in the basement, and I was like, well, heck, I was thinking about putting it up in the barn. He said, that'd be a good spot for it, too. And the guy was like, hang on a second. And he digs through the stack, and he pulls out that one. And you can't tell it now because I went through and tried to tap it out. But he had one that was damaged in the box. It was bent. He was like, I'll tell you what. He's like, if you're buying that one and that pipe, he says, you can have this one, too.
Okay.
So I have the nice one that wasn't bent is in the basement. And then that one I brought up here and I straightened out. But you can kind of still see it in the corner where it was nicked up and bent.
Yeah.
And so I just straightened it out the best I could. And the main part of the sign wasn't hurt, so I didn't care.
Looks good.
But I thought so. I liked it. But anyway, I don't know that I got much else to say. We've been babbling. I think the podcast had ended 30 minutes ago, and we just keep talking.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I guess one thing I would like to say is I did get quite a few positive. I guess we could have done this at the beginning, but I didn't. We did get. I got a lot of good feedback on the podcast from folks that were listening last weekend at Muletown, and I can't tell you guys how much it means to have you guys tell me and give us feedback on it. It's good to hear some positive feedback on it, and
that people are actually even listening.
Yeah. Because I mean, we don't have a huge audience, but we have an audience, and I appreciate the audience we have. If you've ever watched any of my YouTube stuff, I'm not one to ask people to do stuff. Like we started doing that here, and then I don't want to think about it. I don't have to tell people oh, we would need you to do this and do that. If you do it, that's great. I appreciate it. But the comments and the feedback when we see you in person is fantastic, and I greatly appreciate that. I always tell Mark when we get it, so because well, he's a slacker and doesn't go to anything. He just stays at home and scuba dives. But
I just found out today that I'm on a pipe podcast, so I said it's going to be real funny if we ever go to something together and I'm not smoking a pipe, I'm just chewing on a toothpick.
It's okay. But yeah, so we definitely appreciate all the kind words and the feedback, and
definitely
it has been really nice to hear that. So we thank you for that, and I guess I apologize because I didn't finish the podcast, the bonus episode last weekend, but we'll work on that in the future.
Well, you get that figured out.
Yeah. So, but hope you folks all have a great week, and we will talk to you all again soon. Thanks for listening.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty good. So how long does that battery last?
About an hour and 45 minutes. About an hour and 45 minutes. Oh. Okay. Save them.
Save them.
I'm working on it.
Did it record the whole time?
It sure looks like it did. I don't see any breaks in it, so I think that the last time we had an issue with it not catching it, or we having that gap, I'm telling you, it's not when it goes to screensaver. The one time I think the laptop had actually gone to sleep.
Yeah.
And that was the programmer's recording, but because it's coming through the laptop, I think that's what caused it. So, and all I can see in here are like pauses and stuff, so I think we should be good. I can't believe I didn't finish that whole bowl of tobacco already.